Hola chicos, it is Miss Powell and I am here for our Google Hangout kind of review. What I wanted to say is on Wednesdays at about 8:15, feel free to join the link that will be posted within the course and you'll be able to see that on our Spanish 2 course there is an actual Google Hangout link page that will happen each Wednesday night, more or less. And what I will do afterwards is I will just give a quick recap of the questions that were asked so that everyone has the chance to watch or be a part of this. Now, I'm hoping that I can do this each Wednesday, but we'll kind of see how this goes. The best way to get the information is to actually attend the office hours. So, once you see this presentation in the announcements, you'll be able to take a look at the link and watch this video, which you're probably hearing that now because you're watching it now. But with this week's Hangout with el8defebrero, there were some questions brought up to review a lot about conjugations of verbs. And the first part was to review the regular AR, ER, IR conjugations and how they go along with the subject pronouns. And then the second part was that to review about irregular verbs, and there are a few that are listed there. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right in, and we'll take a look at our AR verb endings. So I'm going to start here with, we have our subject pronouns, such as yo, tú, él, ella, usted. And then we're also, and I'm just going to keep going down the list here, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, and then ustedes. Okay, and I know there's some errors here, but I'm just going to go ahead and highlight all of these just to make them so that they are all on one page, and we'll just maneuver this around just a little bit. So here are our subject pronouns for I, you, he, she, and so on. So with this, we need to take an AR verb and we will take the ending off and then add something onto it. So for our yo, let's say we are going to use the verb bailar. I will say yo bailo, tú bailas, él, ella, usted, so they all will receive baila. Nosotros bailamos, vosotros, which I know there's a spelling there, bailáis, ellos, ellas, ustedes, bailan. So you can kind of see here that we have our specific endings for our yo, tú, él, ella, y usted. And I'm going to try to make these some different colors so that they will stand out here, which I know is a little bit time consuming, but está bien. So, o, as, a, amos, ice, on. So those are our AR endings. Okay, so what that means for our other endings, for our ER, IR, is that a lot of these will be the same. So you would start off with your yo, tu, la, usted, but when we go ahead and talk about ER, if we are going to talk about the verb correr, yo corro, tú corres, él, ella, usted corre, nosotros corremos, vosotros corráis, ellos, ellas, ustedes corren. So now you can see that our ER, or that our AR endings have then turned to E's because they are an ER verb. So that's going to remain same for IR verbs, except one little change will happen. So if we use the verb compartir, I'm going to say comparto, okay, for our yo form, compartes for our tu form, comparte, compartimos, compartáis, and then our last one will be comparten, okay, for our verb compartir, to share. So all of our endings are going to be the same with ER and IR except for those nosotros as well as vosotros forms. So now let's go ahead and take a look very quickly at some of the irregulars. So we had asked to look at the verb ser. I'm not going to type the yo, tu, la, usted again, but keep in mind the forms of ser would be soy, eres, es, somos, sois, son. Okay, so here are our ser endings. Now, ser, which means to be, you're going to use this to describe yourself. So, yo soy simpático y atlético y graciosa. So, you will use that with certain adjectives that describe how you are as a person and talk about where you're from. Yo soy de Pittsburgh, and so on. The verb estar is going to be used a little bit differently. So estar with the T in it is used for items that are temporary, and this also means to be. So how you're feeling today. Yo estoy bien. Okay. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? Okay. Él está bien hoy. He is okay today. Okay. Estamos, estáis, y están. Okay. So you can see here our verb estar and these endings. Now keep in mind those differences between ser and estar, because there have been a few assignments coming up along with those. Now I'm going to step back here, and this wasn't brought up in the Google Hangout, but when we're using this verb ser to describe yourself with adjectives, it is always a really good thing to remember that if you are male or a female and what endings will be attached to them. So I could say yo soy divertida, but if I'm going to talk about my dog who is laying over there, I could say mi perro es divertido. So depending on what you are describing is either going to add in an A or an O. If I'm going to talk about my dog and I might say mi perro y yo somos divertidos with the OS on the end. So keep that in mind. Now, the next verb we're going to talk about is the verb ir. And there were actually a few questions about that today because a lot of you are coming up in the course where it's time to take a review for this verb ir, which means to go. And this one is irregular to where if I'm going to say yo voy, tú vas, él usted va, nosotros vamos, vosotros vais, ellos ustedes van. Talking about where to go. So yo voy al centro comercial. I'm going to the mall. Vamos a la iglesia. We are going to church. Van al cine. They go to the movies, and so on. So these are irregular verbs in the sense that they don't take on that osa, amos, and so on. The last verb that came up in tonight's little office hours was the verb tener, and this verb to have has a few different funny things to it. So yo tengo, tú tienes, él usted tiene, nosotros tenemos, vosotros tenéis, ellos, ellas ustedes tienen. So what this verb is known as is this is one of your shoe verbs in the sense that it changes from E, which this E up here, to IE inside the boot or the shoe, but this is also a go verb, that in the yo form it is go. And there are a bunch of verbs that when you start getting into the unit 2, it's going to start with these types of shoe verbs that change, like querer to quiero, and so on. So with that being said, tonight was a lot of review on verbs. If there is anybody that wants to review any type of questioning or pronunciation, please feel free to attend the office hours next week and let me know if you need any help at all. Have a good evening. Your next due date isn't coming up for a little bit, so please be sure that you are checking the pacing guides. I believe it is February 22nd, which we can really quickly check for, oh, there, it's in there. We can quickly check over here on our pacing guide. Yes, it is February 22nd. So please be sure that you are keeping up with that. Y adios.